welcome. You're watching Inspire India here on Mirror Now. I am Afrida Rehman Ali. Well, civil society groups, community partnerships, trusts and NGOs that are working day in and day out to help the needy and to reach out to those who cannot oftentimes afford medical care or unable to access critical medical equipment. These groups and individuals are helping out people at large, and that is the reason why today, if India is recovering from the impact of the second wave, one of the reasons is how these civil society groups and foundations and trusts are working towards that effect. In fact, we often report loss of lives. We forget to talk about how lives are being saved as well. The number of lives that have been saved, the tragedies that have been averted, many homes have been salvaged from the brink of downfall. Many families have managed to save their loved ones as well because of timely action coming from a foundation or a trust who are working for public good. And on Inspire India, we celebrate the efforts of those individuals and groups that have made it their agenda to either volunteer or spearhead such campaigns and initiatives for public interest during the trying times of pandemic. These efforts have gone a long way in helping and healing. So today we have two guests on Inspire India, Mr. Rakesh Jinsi, who is the chairperson and president of SOS Children's Villages of India, based out of Delhi. Now, this is an organization that helps children in distress, an extremely important and sensitive issue. Children who either have lost both their parents to COVID-19 or who have parents undergoing treatment for COVID-19 and they are left to fend for themselves. SOS Children's Village of India is pitching to help out those children who are in need. I also have Abdul Razak, a volunteer of a trust based out of Bhindi Bazaar in Mumbai. They are doing extremely important work at the grassroots level where they help the poor and the needy access medical facility at literally no cost or often free of cost. Oxygen cylinders, medicines, doctor services, sometimes a mobile hospital, a makeshift hospital is created to help the poor. Even those who got no access to beds were given medical service by groups that Abdul Razak work for. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Rakesh Jinsi and Abdul Razak. I want to come to you first, Mr. Jinsi. You know, your journey itself is very interesting from what I can make out that you were working in the corporate world for many decades and now you are completely devoted to SOS Children's Village of India. Can you take us through how this started and what is the current role that you're playing in this organization and what are the kind of services that it is working on?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much for having me on the show today. As you just mentioned, I am with SOS Children's Villages of India. I joined SOS Children's Villages in the year 2009 as their chief executive, and this was after having spent almost 3 decades in the corporate world. I was primarily with the automobile sector, and my last assignment in the corporate sector was as the country head for Fiat New Holland Tractors. At a personal level, for many years, I had been wanting to move to something little more meaningful. There was a feeling of, so to say, emptiness in me. I had wanted to come to the social sector, but I had also decided that I would do it in the last few years of my working life and not after retirement. I wanted it to be sort of an affirmative action from my side. I got this chance. I was interviewed on Zender to head this organization, SOS Children's Villages. Everything was perfect. Only it came a couple of years before I had thought I would want to. My family responsibilities were still not fully met. I had the dilemma that should I do it now or try for something else after 2 or 3 years. It came and I still had about 6 years of working life left. But I thought that if I let this opportunity go right now, it may not be there when I would really be wanting to do so. And also I felt that if I don't take this opportunity, I don't think I am serious about doing it. So that's how I joined SOS Children's Villages. I was the for 6 years. I superannuated in 2015, and thereafter I was called to join the board in March 2019, and thereafter I was invited to be president of the board, which I am doing so since October 2019, and it has been a wonderful experience till now.
Okay. Yes,
So,
I'm sure, Mr. Jinsi, with your level of exposure and experience and your guidance to an organization like this, where you are heading the SOS Children's Village of India, this is a countrywide network looking after the orphan children, looking after children who are, left out on the streets since both parents suddenly become unavailable owing to being struck by the infection. We will talk about how you handle these cases and how these cases come to you in just a bit. Let me go across to Mr. Abdul Razak as well. Abdul Razak ji, भिंडी बाजार में जो ये सेटअप है, आपके जो ट्रस्ट है, कहाँ से शुरुआत हुई? आपका जो पर्सनल जर्नी है, आपका खुद का इसमें इन्वॉल्वमेंट किस तरह से शुरू हुआ?
मैडम, ये तो जब फर्स्ट वेव आया था ना 2020 में, आई थिंक मई के अंदर, तब से हमने ये शुरू किया था। और ये ट्रस्ट का नाम है फैजान हुजूर मुफ्ती आजम चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट, और ये ट्रस्ट फूल गली मस्जिद भिंडी बाजार के अंदर है। तो यहाँ से हमने शुरू किया था कि लास्ट ईयर जब शुरू हुआ था ना मैडम, तो उस वक्त लोगों को हॉस्पिटल नहीं मिल रहे थे ना, सारे हॉस्पिटल्स बंद थे और लोग परेशान ऐसा था कि किसी को कोई एडमिशन ही नहीं मिल रहा था, चाहे पैसा देने के बाद भी। तो इतना परेशानी के हिसाब से हम लोगों ने वो शुरू किया और लोगों को काफी फायदा पहुंचा मेरा, और काफी लोगों ने उससे फायदा पहुंचाया कि भाई लोग लेकर जाके अपने घरों में इलाज किया, और 24 आवर्स हमारा ये सर्विस शुरू था मैडम। 24 घंटे हमारे जो बच्चे वॉलेंटियर वो
जो
रहते थे।
गरीब है, मजदूर है, जो लाचार है, जो हेल्पलेस है, उन लोगों की मदद के लिए आपने ये शुरू की। प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
हाँ, ये सारे लोगों के लिए मैडम, चाहे वो कोई भी हो और चाहे वो किसी भी धर्म का हो, कोई भी आए। हम लोगों ने यानी कोई गरीब है या अमीर है, पैसा होने के बाद भी तो लोगों को नहीं मिल रहा था ना मैडम। पैसा होने के बाद भी लोगों को ना ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर मिल रहा था, ना हॉस्पिटल बेड मिल रहा था। हम लोगों ने ऑक्सीजन के साथ साथ खाना भी रखा था लोगों को। लंगरे गरीब नवाज जो था हमारे यहाँ से रोजाना बांटा जा रहा था, और मेडिकल कैंप रखे जाते हैं हमारे यहाँ पर एवरी थर्सडे। मोबाइल वैन है जिसके अंदर ब्लड प्रेशर, डायबिटीज और फ्री दवाइयाँ जो रहती है ना, जनरल दवाइयाँ, वो दी जाती है। ये होप इंडिया के साथ हमारा एक टाइप है। हमारा मोबाइल वैन है, वो एवरी थर्सडे खड़ा रहता है। और उसी के साथ हम लोग एक ऑक्सीजन का जो शुरू किया है, लोगों ने देखा है कि बेचारे लोग रात को परेशान रहते हैं, और कोविड पेशेंट के लिए ऑक्सीजन जो सिलेंडर होता है ना 7 kg का हॉस्पिटल का, हम लोग ने वो शुरू किया है मैडम, बड़ा वाला, जिसका वेट नियर अबाउट 50 to 60 kg। हमारे वॉलेंटियर्स वो उठा के लोगों को ले जाते, और पाइप्स होता है, जो ऑक्सीजन पाइप होता है वो भी हमारी तरफ से होता है, फ्लो मीटर भी हमारी तरफ से होता है मैडम। ये तमाम चीजें मुहैया की जाती है। और जिसको जो गरीब बेचारे हॉस्पिटल में एडमिशन नहीं ले सकते, क्योंकि प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल पर डे 25,000 to 50,000 आईसीयू बेड है। अब उनको क्या करना है, तो जो डॉक्टर्स है उनको घर में जो बीएमसी आइसोलेशन बोलती है, तो हम लोग उनको ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर देते। अब वो वहीं पर इलाज शुरू करते, घर मरीज एक सिलेंडर खत्म होने के बाद दूसरा ले जाते, तीसरा ले जाते। ऐसे हमने एक पेशेंट, तो एक क्या कई पेशेंट है 25।
मतलब कि ये अब्दुल रज़ाक जी कि जिन लोगों को अस्पताल में जगह नहीं मिला, उन लोगों को बचाने का काम आपने किया, आपकी टीम ने किया। जो उनकी जरूरत का, उस वक्त की जरूरत जो आपको लगा, जैसे किसी को ऑक्सीजन जरूरत है तो ऑक्सीजन मुहैया कराना, किसी को मेडिसिन चाहिए तो मेडिसिन, मतलब अगर बेड नहीं मिले तो किसी की जान ना जाए, ये जो आपने किया बहुत ही बड़ा इसमें मुझे लगता है कंट्रीब्यूशन है आप जाने बचाने में, in saving lives, which is why I said in the beginning of the show that we often report the lives that were lost, but we must also talk about the lives that were saved by individuals like Abdul Razak. हम बात करेंगे आगे भी। आप जो मुझे पहले बता रहे थे कि किस तरह से ये जो एक एक पेशेंट को बचाने के लिए जो मशक्कत करना पड़ा होगा आपको, या आपके टीम को, उसके बारे में we will talk about in detail. Mr. Rakesh Jinsi, this is again a very sensitive issue of how children, and we are not talking enough about it, that there are so many families where children are left orphaned when both parents are impacted, or in many cases the parents have passed away. What is the procedure like, Mr. Jinsi? How does it work in those cases?
So what we have done in SOS Children's Villages, we have actually also used the learnings of the last year and a half now, ever since COVID has been running through the country. So now we have aligned our programs in such a way so that we can reasonably good service to children who get affected. So what happens is that whenever a child in distress is, we come across a child who is stranded, we immediately take the child to the nearest child welfare committee. So there is a child welfare committee who is responsible and who is to entrust the child to whomever they think it is fit. SOS Children's India, fortunately, we are present all across the country. We have 32 locations, and all our locations have been certified by both JJ Act, as well as we have been declared as fit facility. So legally, we can take any child who is to us. Especially after COVID has been there, we take any stranded child to the Child Welfare Committee, and the Child Welfare Committee, after doing their necessary assessment, then they entrust the child. Now, depending on the situation of the child could either need care for a short duration of time because the parents, they are suffering from COVID, they are hospitalized, they cannot be with the children. We keep the children with us under our short stay facility or short stay program. And once the parents back home, we reunite the children with the families. However, there are children also who have lost parents because parents have lost to COVID. Now those children, we take them under our long stay program. In this case, we bring the child home and they become a part of our child family, and then we take care of the child till the child is becoming self-reliant. Means we take care of their education, vocational training, food, clothing, everything. We don't just take care of the child, we look after the entire child development process and see that the child becomes a contributing member of the society. And this could be well up to 23 or 24 years of age. Programs which we are distinctly running. Also, what we do is that if we find that our family members or extended family who are willing and who are wanting to take care of the child with the extended family, it's our kinship program, what we call, and we support the family in financial terms and other terms, and we enable the family to look after the child because the best place for the child to come up is the child's own family or the extended family. So
no, this is extremely important, Mr. Jinsi, because I have seen a lot of messages circulating about children who are stranded, and people, because of lack of information, feel that any random person can go ahead and adopt such children, which is against procedure. And I will talk about that as well with you, Mr. Jinsi, about how if somebody wants to adopt, then what happens. We'll come to that. But let me go across to Abdul Razak. अब्दुल रज़ाक जी, आप बताएंगे कि पहले जो हमने बात की कि एक पेशेंट को बचाने के लिए कई बार कई हजार रुपए की जरूरत पड़ जाती है, एक सिलेंडर से काम नहीं चलता, 10-12 सिलेंडर की जरूरत पड़ती है, तो उतने हजार रुपए की भी जरूरत पड़ती है, तो कहाँ से आप अरेंज करते हैं, किस तरह से ये अरेंज हो पाता है? और अगर ये जो पीरियड था आपके लिए, अब तो काफी ठीक हो गया है मुंबई में, लेकिन कौन सा वो समय था जो सबसे मुश्किल था?
मतलब सबसे मुश्किल समय तो ये था कि जब हमारा रमजान शुरू हुआ, रमजान के बाद जैसे ये कोविड का पूरा शुरू हो गया मैडम, तब इतनी परेशानी, क्योंकि हमको रोजा भी रखना है, हम लोग रोजे भी रख रहे थे और तमाम लोगों को काम करना भी था। और मैं एक वाक्य बता दूं आपको उस वक्त का कि रात के जब हम सहरी करते हैं, सहरी के वक्त में एक पेशेंट आया जो मेरे ख्याल से 4 से 5 बजे थी, जिनकी उसके डैडी की उम्र 65-70 की उम्र, 65 ईयर्स। वो रात के 9 बजे से हॉस्पिटल के लिए घूम रहा था मैं गाड़ी में उसके डैडी को लेकर। कुलाबा के पेशेंट है, आई थिंक नाम तो मुझे ध्यान में नहीं है, लेकिन वो पूरा घूमते हुए बेचारा मस्जिद पे आया, कॉल किया, हम लोगों ने देखा कि क्या है, हमारी टीम ने उसको वहीं पर ऑक्सीजन लगाया उसकी गाड़ी के अंदर ही, और लेके जाने को कहा कि आपको अगर हॉस्पिटल मिलता है तो बताइएगा, वरना हम लोग खुद आपको जो भी चीजें, जो भी हेल्प करते रहेंगे। वो यानी मैं बता नहीं सकता हूँ कि वो लम्हा कैसा था, किस तरीके से लोग आते थे और किस तरीके से जाते थे मैडम, कि कितना खुश होकर के लोगों के लिए एक की जान बचाना, यानी मदद करना, हमको वो मैं बयान नहीं कर सकता हूँ मैडम उस चीज को, कि किस तरीके से लोग करना काम कर रहे थे हम लोग।
लेकिन जो
और
सिलेंडर जो मिलते थे ना, काफी एक टाइम ऐसा भी था कि दाम उसके काफी बढ़ गए थे, तो उसके बारे में बताइए कि इसमें एक सरकार की भी जिम्मेदारी एक्चुअली होती है कि वो ये देखें कि ओवरचार्जिंग ना हो। क्या आपको उस तरह की भी कुछ मुश्किल फेस करना पड़ा सिलेंडर मुहैया कराने के टाइम पर, ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर?
जी जरूर मैडम। उसके अंदर एक एक पार्ट जो है ना सिलेंडर के अंदर, वो कीमती है। जिस तरीके से ये ऑक्सीजन पाइपलाइन है वो एक कीमती है, ऊपर का जो फ्लो मीटर होता है ऑक्सीजन का, वो तो बहुत जरूरी है। अगर मुझे सिलेंडर मिल गया, सिलेंडर मिलने के बाद फ्लो मीटर नहीं मिलेगा मैडम जो, तो वो मतलब क्या है, कुछ भी मतलब नहीं। और जैसे ही हम लोग जो फ्लो मीटर है ना मैडम 850 to 800 रुपीज में लिया करते, और जो पाइप है वो क्वांटिटी हम लोग मंगवाया करते तो 70-60 रुपीज का आता था मैडम। जैसे ही ये कोविड का शुरू होता है मैडम, कालाबाजारी शुरू हो जाती है। वो फ्लो मीटर 5000, 25 से 5000 का वो भी मिलता नहीं, बहुत मुश्किल से मिलता है मैडम। और वो पाइप जो है वो 200 रुपीज का एक हो जाता है मैडम। संस्थाओं को भी परेशानी होती है, और प्रशासन से रिक्वेस्ट है कि ऐसी कालाबाजारी पे रोक लगाई जाए, क्योंकि हर जगह लोग परेशान है। मेडिसिन की हर आइटम, इंजेक्शन से लेकर हॉस्पिटल के बेड, अब ये हॉस्पिटल बेड मैडम 25 to 30 या 50,000 पर डे कोविड पेशेंट के लिए लाएगा कहाँ से आदमी। और बीएमसी जो कहती है कि भाई आपको अगर हम लोग बेड प्रोवाइड करते हैं, तो वो बेड अवेलेबल कहाँ है मैडम, कहाँ से लाएगा आदमी, जब कारोबार बंद है, सब कुछ बंद है। वो ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर तो चलो मिल जा रहा है आपको, उसकी जो ऑक्सीजन की रिफिल्स जो होती है ना मैडम, वो भी 3-3 हजार 2-2 हजार रुपए में गई है मैडम। और उसकी नॉर्मल हमारे लोग, हमारे यहाँ पर जो लोग एजेंसी है, हमारे लोगों ने बहुत कोऑपरेट किया। हमारे जो एजेंसी वाले हैं उन्होंने पिछले साल भी और इस साल भी बहुत ही कोऑपरेट किया मैडम। और हमारे एरिया का जो पुलिस स्टेशन है लोकल, उन्होंने भी कोऑपरेट किया, उन्होंने भी हर वक्त हमारे साथ है। और हमारे लोग और ये दारुल फैजान हुजूर मुफ्ती आजम हिंद जो चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट है मैडम, हर काम के लिए हम लोगों ने राशन किट बांटी मैडम। कम से कम 500 से 600 राशन घरों में भेजा गया खुद जाकर। और दूध वगैरह जो रहता है ईद का, वो हम लोगों ने काफी दूध भी बांटा, दूध, शीरखुरमा, जो भी लोग आते थे हम लोग ने सभी को दिया। यानी हर काम के लिए खड़े हैं। बस रिक्वेस्ट यही है कि प्रशासन इस पे ध्यान दे कि कालाबाजारी ना हो मैडम।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, वो यही इसलिए मैंने वो दोहराया, और आप ही की बात को मैं फिर से दोहरा देती हूँ कि lot of these volunteers who are working on ground, they're trying their best, of course, to procure oxygen cylinders and medicines. They also have to deal with this additional challenge of hoarding and black marketing that is going on, and this is where the administration needs to come in. Yes, we do have these volunteer groups, they are doing their bit, but at least make it easy for them not to have these additional challenges of dealing with profiteering that is going on. It's extremely unfortunate. Abdul Razak ji, कुछ आप जैसे लोग हैं जो मदद कर रहे हैं, कुछ और भी ऐसे भी लोग हैं जो इसमें फायदा उठाने की भी कोशिश करते हैं। डेफिनेटली प्रशासन की जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि उस पे रोक लगाए। Mr. Jinsi, again coming back to you, we were talking about this very important issue of how children who are left stranded can be adopted, either first option of course by immediate family or extended family, but can others also adopt from say SOS Children's Village of India?
Uh, See, the process of adoption in India is very well defined. Actually, over the last decade or so, it has been changing, and now it is very properly defined. The only way of legally adopting a child is through an organization named as CARA, and primarily it is a government body. So children, actually children who are abandoned or do not belong to any family, they are state property. So no individual or an organization, government can legally give a child an adoption. So any individual or any person wanting a child has to register himself or herself with the CARA website, and thereafter there is a process of identifying the investigation which is done. The family is properly investigated and assessed that are they to adopt a child, and after they have cleared that assessment, then they are given an option amongst the children who are available. Of course, they also have to clearly define what is the profile of the child, what is the preferred profile of child. So depending upon that, a match is done, and then the process is taken forward, and finally it culminates by the court order, which then formally entrusts or gives the child to that person or persons. So that is a process. Other than that, there is no other process legal adoption can take place. So this is something which people need to keep in mind.
Okay. SOS Children's Village of India is extending help and support to children in distress in 32 children's villages across 22 states. It's a very big network. And Mr. Jinsey, from the information that I have, from 1st of April 2021, over 100 children of COVID-19 victims have been brought to the children's villages from across the country. So the numbers would be on the rise at a time like this, even though I understand this is a network that existed prior to COVID as well. How are you dealing with that, the sudden increase in the number of children?
Actually, effective 1st of January, if we see, we have got 150 children who are directly impacted by COVID. And 9 of them we had to take long-term care. 59 of them were in the short stay facility, and they have been reunited with their families, and about 12 or so still remain with us. But having said this, COVID seems to be a long battle, and we are very clear that the numbers are going to be high. Fortunately, given our pan-India presence and our large infrastructure, we are we have a capacity of taking anywhere up to 1,000 children under our short stay program, and we can easily take anywhere up to 400 children in our facility. So we have the capability to absorb at least 1,000 to 1,500 children under various programs, and these numbers we can increase if really there is a need. But we hope things settle out and children do not get stranded or they are not. But we have the wherewithal.
Yes, extremely important, considering there is that other ugly reality of child trafficking also in this country. So it's important for organizations like SOS Children's Village to sustain itself well and to spread its network as far and wide as possible in order to cover all those stranded children who should not fall into the wrong hands. Mr. Rakesh Jinsey, thank you so much for joining us. Abdul Razak ji, shukriya.
Thank you very much for having us.
हमारे साथ और आपकी कहानी हमारे साथ शेयर की. Thank you so much for joining us on Inspire India. Well, that's it for now. News and updates continue on the other side. Stay with Mirror Now. Headlines coming up next. Do visit us on mirrornownews.com and follow us on our social media handles as well.